Hello everyone. Today we'll be presenting our project titled Adventures of the Dice, Mythical Quest, Labyrinth of Legends. My name is Pranav and I'm working on this project with Ashrit. In one sentence, our project is a PHP based adventure board game where each dice roll shapes the player's journey through dynamic boards, quests, events, and challenges, all built using only HTML, CSS, and PHP. So we'll walk you through our team structure, the problem we are solving, our objectives and challenges, the core features of the game, a demo with code snippets, and finally the methodology we use to manage the project. So here's our team structure. We kept the roles simple and collaborative since we are a two-person group. One of us primarily focused on backend PHP logic, including dice rolling, game state management with sessions and board generation. The other, that is me, focused more on front-end layout and styling with HTML and CSS, including how the board stats and events are displayed to the player. We both shared responsibilities for integration, testing, debugging, and refining gameplay. This structure allowed us to work in parallel while still keeping the project tightly coordinated. So here's our problem introduction. The core problem we wanted to address is that traditional dice and board games are mostly static and predictable. They usually have fixed board layouts, limited variation between playthroughs, and very little progression or adaptation based on player choices. On top of that, many web-based games rely heavily on JavaScript, while in this course we were restricted to using only PHP, HTML, and CSS. So the challenge was how can we create a dynamic, replayable adventure style board game that feels alive while managing everything on the server side using PHP sessions. Our main objectives for this project were firstly to build a fully functional adventure dice game where the board events and quests change between games. Secondly, to implement dynamic board generation with multiple difficulty levels so easy, medium, and hard actually feel different. Third, to use PHP sessions to track player position, stats, items, quests, and game progression across page reloads. Fourth, to support multiplayer turns and trading so that more than one player can interact in the same game world. And finally, to implement all of this using only HTML, CSS, and PHP and no JavaScript. Moving on to the challenges, we also faced several important challenges. The first challenge was managing complex game state purely with PHP sessions. We needed to track multiple players, their positions, XP, levels, inventory, and quests, and keep everything in sync. The second challenge was interactivity without JavaScript. All interactions had to be handled through form submissions and page reloads while still feeling responsive to the user. A third challenge was designing multiple board layouts and tile types like traps, treasures, quest tiles, and event tiles without overcomplicating the data structures. And finally, integrating quests, random events, and character progression without breaking the flow of the game required careful planning and testing. To summarize the project, Adventures of the Dice is a dynamic PHP driven board adventure game. Players roll dice to move along a board that is generated based on the chosen difficulty level. Along the way, they can encounter quests, random events, treasures, and traps. We track player stats like HP, XP, level, and inventory using PHP sessions, and these variables influence how the game progresses and what options are available. We also support multiplayers taking turns and trading items, which adds a cooperative or competitive angle to the game. Overall, the goal is to offer replayability and variety within the constraints of HTML, CSS, and PHP only. Moving on to our core features, our project includes four core features. Firstly, PHP based dice rolling. We use PHP's random number generation to simulate dice rolls, and we also allow for probability modifiers based on items or abilities the player may acquire. Secondly, dynamic board generation. The layout changes based on the selected difficulty. and we randomize elements like traps, treasures, events, and quest tiles, so each playthrough feels different. Thirdly, session based game state. We use PHP sessions to track player position, stats, XP level, inventory, and whose turn it is. This allows the game to persist across requests and keep the logic on the server side. And fourth, multiple thematic board layout. For example, fantasy, jungle, or space. Each theme can have its own visual style and tile types, which keeps the experience fresh to the player. And now we'll quickly go through the demo of our project. And over to you, Ash.
Yeah, thank you, Pranav. Now we'll go through the quick demo of the project. So here is what we did. This is the overall board which we are going to play according to the levels and the XP which is given over there. So basically we start the game by rolling the dice over here. So there is an adventure log which states that like there will be the text format where we can get to see like what are the steps that we are performing over there. So by clicking on the roll dice, at first it moved from tile 1 to tile 3, so we got a dice number of 2, so it moves to 3. Like that we'll keep on going until we win the game. And there are few boxes which are covered as red, which are kind of snakes in the terms of snake and ladder game, which makes the player to get down from the levels. So we'll quickly go through the demo of the game. So this is what we'll be doing over here. So like we keep on rolling the dice until the player gets to win the game. And we also get to see the levels as well, and also the XP over here, and the position of the tile which the player is playing. So now you can see over here from 47 we moved out to 53, which states that we need to go to 18. So the player comes back to 18 from 53. So this is what we call it as an uh, angry ant. So it's basically a snake over there, and then we keep on going until we win the game. So let me make it quick. Again, we came back, and so as you can see now we reached to the highest level of the game, and we can see over here the victory as an end credits of the game. So here is an inventory for the players, and you can start the game again by clicking on the play again game, and then you can just roll the dice and just keep moving forward. As far as our the codes are concerned, these are the few code snippets that we have pasted over here, which are basically the overall like the main logic of the project. So in the first snippet, we can see the dynamic board generation, and we'll start by showing how a player starts a game and then selects the difficulty and then loads into the main game. Then we will demonstrate a dice roll, how the movement is calculated, and what happens when the player lands on different tile types like quest or an event. As we see these interactions, we will be briefly point to the key PHP functions that handle dice rolling, board lookups, and session updates. The goal of this demo is to show both the user experiences, how the server side logic ties everything together. And then moving on to the next one, it is session state management and uh, zigzag grid rendering. Here we focus on the main. Sorry. Here we focus on like I missed on the second snippet. So the main game loop here is that at the highest level, each turn follows this sequence. The current player submits a dice roll. We compute the new position based on the roll. We look up the tile, type on the board, and then we apply the effect on that tile. After updating the player stats and any session variable, we check for winning or losing conditions. And then finally, we switch the active player in the session to support multiplayer turns, and then reload the game screen whenever you can like show the updated state. All of this is handled in PHP using the function to operate on the session data structure. And then when we move on to the next one, it's the session state management. Here we highlight how we manage game state using PHP sessions. We use the sessions to store key information such as each player's position, HP, XP level, inventory, active quests, current turn number, and the current player index. Every time the player rolls the dice or performs any action, we update the relevant session values and then reload the page to reflect the new state. This approach lets us maintain continuous requests without relying on the client-side storage or JavaScript. It also makes it easier to implement multiplayer turns because we can simply switch the current player ID stored in the session and reuse the same game logic for each player. Moving on to the next snippet, that is zigzag grid rendering. Our board is rendered in a zigzag manner, similarly to how many other boards are present. Instead of showing the board as a simple straight line, we arrange the tiles in the grid where every alternate row is reversed. This creates more natural and snake-like path. In PHP, we generate the rows and switch the direction for every row while printing the HTML table. This is purely a presentational detail, but it makes the board game easier to follow visually and more simpler to the real board game. So this is our Kanban methodology. For our project management, we choose the Kanban methodology. Kanban is a visual workflow method where tasks move through different stages on the board, such as backlog, to do, in progress, testing, and done. This worked well for our small two-person team because it gave us flexibility instead of rigid and time-boxed sprint. Whenever we added new feature like quests, events, or trading, we could easily create new cards and move across the boards as we worked. The Kanban approach helped us stay organized, see our progress at glance, and continuously prioritize on what we do on the next. This is the sample visual representation of the Kanban board methodology. This slide is a simplified version of our Kanban board. Uh, in the backlog, we kept ideas and future tasks like board generation logic and quest system planning. The to-do column contained tasks we were ready to start, such as dice roll, implementation, and session setup. In progress, held active development work like player stats and handling board rendering. In testing column, we use uh, when we are verifying features and checking sessions, persistent and movement logic. Finally, tasks moved to done once they were completed and stable, such as the project proposal and our basic UI wireframes. So thank you all. This is our project, and hope you all liked it.